What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. Some breaking news here. The Dodgers have officially announced their opening day starter, Julio Urías, not Clayton Kershaw, getting the start this year. Scott, I'll just come right to you. Surprised that it's Julio and not Kershaw?
Not so much. I think that with Kershaw's slow ramp up to the season after slowing him down, not playing in WBC, Julio's had a little bit more of a runway to ramp it up. And just like I called on Twitter, why not Julio?
Daniel, what are your thoughts on this? Does it feel appropriate for Julio to get the start on opening day?
Well, to answer the first question that you asked, Scott, I will say I'm a little surprised. I thought it would go to Kershaw. But with that being said, I don't mind it at all going to Julio. I feel like he's earned it at this point. Like, he's been the Dodgers' best pitcher for the last 2 or 3 seasons now. He's obviously going into a contract year, so this very well could be his last year in a Dodger uniform. We know he's a fan favorite, so I think it's going to be really cool for him to get that opportunity. It's his first opening day start. He's never done it before. I'm sure the fans, are going to go crazy when his name gets introduced, during the starting lineups. And I personally don't look at opening day as like this, this insane honor that has to go to the guy that's been there the longest or whatever the case may be. So I honestly like changing it up. Like, I feel like Kersh has done it a lot, and he's going to be pitching the second day, so it's not that much different. So I honestly like it.
Well, and to be fair, Kershaw agrees with what you just said, Daniel. Earlier in the week, he was asked about it, and he said, I think it should be whoever pitched the best the year before, and Julio did that, so he deserves it. That was a quote before it was officially announced. Obviously, if you read the tea leaves, Clayton Kershaw set to start Sunday, which would not give him enough rest to start Thursday. So this is breaking news in that it has officially been announced. But if you dug into it and wanted to do the research, you probably could have surmised this yourself. Scott, before we move on to Julio, do you agree with how Daniel views opening day? It does feel like we make a big deal out of who is the opening day starter. MLB has made this thing where nobody was allowed to announce it until today, all at the same time. And Daniel's kind of saying sort of like, who cares? Is that kind of how you view it? Or do you still feel like it's a feather in the cap for a guy to be able to say, hey, I'm the opening day starter?
I think for veteran guys like that have done it for so long, the longer you do it, like if it was continued to be Clayton Kershaw, like that's just more sentimental value there. Like Kershaw said the same thing with Walker Buehler last year. Like it's, he deserved it. Walker Buehler deserves it. It's the ascension to, the heir apparent to the ace of the staff. So Clayton Kershaw saying all the right things. I don't view it as much of a big deal. Like if a team came out and used an opener, I'd be like, okay, it's just first game. According to the plan, like it's just another game. It truthfully is. Like for the guys that have been pitching forever, Adam Wainwright, like if they said Adam Wainwright's getting, his last opening day start and, possibly the final season of his career, then it matters. I think that, truthfully, it's not a big deal.
The opener feels a bit extreme. I feel like maybe we've devalued opening day a little bit if we're going to the openers, but
it could be. Gotta win.
I hear you.
Opening day starter.
There you go. One other storyline, Daniel, that Matt and I talked a little bit about on Sunday Night Show. Part of me, is this the Dodgers throwing Julio a bone? I mean, I'm not saying he's going to re-sign with the Dodgers because of this in free agency, but it does feel like a little, hey, Julio, we think highly of you, and we can say that with our words all we want, but we're going to hand you opening day. And I'm sure that means something to Julio because he's never done it before, and to do it for the Dodgers. And again, I'm not saying he's going to take a discount to stay with the Dodgers. I'm not saying he's going to feel dramatically different, but I do feel like it was a significant, it was a bone that they could throw towards Julio, and now they have. So do you think that's am I making something up where there's nothing really there, or could there be something to that?
I think there could definitely be something to that. I definitely think from the player's perspective, it might, mean something to them. Like you said, Julio has never done this before. So that'll be a cool experience. Like you also said, I don't think, that's what's going to get the deal done by any means, but I definitely think there could be something to that. Like there's been a lot of questions from people outside the organization asking how much do they really value Julio over the years. I personally think they value him very highly. Like some people try to use them, like him pitching out of the bullpen in different roles, showing that they don't trust him. I actually think it's the opposite. I think that shows the trust they do have in him. But yeah, I definitely think saying, "Hey, Julio, like go get him on opening day." That could be them trying to send a little message right there.
All right, let's close with this. Julio Urías, how are we feeling about him, the pitcher, now? I ask this as I look at his World Baseball Classic statistics. He got 2 starts for Team Mexico, and it wasn't exactly the performance, Scott, that maybe we would have hoped for. 9 innings pitched, 7 earned runs, 8 hits allowed. Did have 10 strikeouts to go along with just 1 walk, but I know you guys are, I should say Scott primarily, Daniel a little bit less so, some WBC guys. We don't have Blake in here, who's the WBC evangelist. But I mean, we are talking about how this was a competition that mattered and it was high level. And if all that's the case, do we have to take into account these numbers differently than if these were spring training numbers, Scott?
I think that you can't have it both sides. You'd say that, the games are, meaningful. And then when you look at the numbers and say, oh, they don't matter,
right.
It all matters. So sure, there's probably something there, but who's to say that he's not working on things, that he's not thinking in the back of his mind that he has, pitch limits and he can't just go out and let it loose. Everything matters. Teams record, like Team Mexico is coordinating with the Dodgers on, restrictions on Julio, but his performance, is he still missing bats? Could the location be better? Absolutely. Process was probably, if you ask Julio, I'm sure he was happy with the process. Results so much, but I still think that at the end of the day, they're beneficial. Results probably weren't there, but I don't think there's anything to worry about with Julio. He still looked, in his first start, he looked fantastic for the first 4 innings. I believe he was perfect. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Julio, anything to be worried about. He's ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, 3 of the last 4 seasons, he ends up the season with an ERA under 3. So he's put together a body work, Daniel, that tells me I shouldn't be concerned about a 7 ERA and 2 starts in the World Baseball Classic. But to Scott's point, that's why I ask. You can't say, hey, these games matter, everybody cares, and then also say, but who cares if he had a 7 ERA? It felt like Scott was kind of sitting on the fence. Oh, he's working on some things. Well, if the games matter, you're not working on things in the middle of the game. That's just my view. Daniel, where do you stand on all this?
I think Julio was just, getting it all out of the way now so he could be ready to go on opening day, throw up a bunch of zeros. No, but in all honesty, I think kind of what Scott was saying, like the process over results. Like if you look at just the raw numbers, seven runs in 9 innings, like that might not look great, but kind of like Scott said, like in that first outing, he looked dialed in for 4 innings. Like I watched those first 4 innings and was like, this is the best Julio has ever looked. And then he gives up a 3-run bomb in the 5th. We'd like him to give up fewer runs, but at the end of the day, he's a guy that when the lights are on, he's going to turn it on.
Yeah. All right. We'll end with this. Scott, does Julio Urías get the win on opening day for the Dodgers?
I'm not going to dodge your question this time.
Jeez.
Yes.
Oh, you're not going to.
Julio gets the win on opening day.
Daniel?
Against the Diamondbacks, gotta go for the dub there.
Yeah, and he's built up. I mean, that's the thing. So we don't have to be concerned about does he get to the 5-inning mark. So I'm going win as well. There you go. Let us know in the comments below what you think. Julio Urías, opening day starter for the Dodgers, not Clayton Kershaw. You feel okay about that? Does it matter? Is this a bone being thrown to Julio? Are you concerned about the 7 ERA in the World Baseball Classic? Let us know your thoughts below. That's Scott. That's Daniel. My name is Jeff. As always, enjoy the rest of your day and go Dodgers.